SA Cricket Academy, it's a setup, or it's a high performance cricket coaching setup for coaches, created by the coaches and owned by the coaches. It's a brand that is much more based on a South African pride, you see. Cricket Academy does specialize in coaching. When we talk about coaching, it's not just cricket coaching. It's mentorship. It's a way of developing a good human being. It's not we are just using cricket. We're just using cricket as the vehicle. The way we work with the kids is to make sure that we develop them all around. Academics and any other talents that they have besides cricket, we get to look into that. We get to look into different other avenues besides cricket, because there's only 11 places when we talk about the Proteas. Even if we look at the franchise sides and all that, yes, opportunities that they are much more available than 20 years ago, but still there's a lot of kids that are coming through wanting to get involved in coaching and all that. So we got to make sure that they always have got a backup. They're developing all around, not just cricket. Basically, our academy revolves every day, and we develop new things every day. We sit down and assess. We are dynamic. We look to develop something new every time. Obviously, we've got a big project that we're working on in Sandton. Obviously, Sandton is one of the big business capital in South Africa, and we've managed to slot in ourselves there in a long-term vision. We're talking about 50 years to come. If we want to start working on South Africa Cricket Academy being the best and leading cricket academy, where do we need to set up our high performance center, our head office? So we've made this early initiative to make sure that our head office is located in Sandton. This is a big business place, and we've got a big project going there. We're working on putting up our high performance center, which is going to have an indoor facility and an outdoor facility, and a cricket club in place. The cricket club is running already. It's got about 4 men's team and 1 ladies team. And the academy is the feeder system into that club. We haven't started building the infrastructure. We are still in negotiations with sponsors and other people that are willing to get involved in the project. So that's quite a massive thing coming up, definitely. The impact was quite early than the lockdown days. I would say roughly about a month before. Once this thing started and parents were hesitating, once the reports started getting into schools and all that, and like I'm saying, between a month or 3 weeks, one of the closest school to the academy, it was reported that one of the teachers, and the numbers just started dropping. So a month before, things were bad, and we were hoping that things will recover and things will be under control. And then the lockdown obviously came through, and it was quite something else that we didn't plan for. Obviously, when we look at CSA, definitely, I don't think they're funding anybody that is in running private projects. There's never been any funding coming from that direction. I think overall, I understand when it comes to Cricket South Africa, and what's happening currently, Graham Smith coming in and trying to stabilize things, their cash flow isn't in a positive as well. So definitely there can't be anything coming from that side. If we look at the side of the government, cricket academy is a tricky part that there's no specific industry where it actually falls in. When you knock on all those doors and all that, it's been like that from before. When you go to all these funding institutions, they don't really have to anything for business like ours. It's not as easy. It was all of a sudden that we saw that the lockdown was coming through. Obviously, we were not too sure whether it's going to last a month, which a month wasn't going to be a disaster. We were going to manage. But we quickly had to go back to the drawing board and see how best we can sort of like get things to carry on. And it wasn't easy coming with a quick solution, and because there were a lot of apps on the market in terms of video conferencing and all that, and you're trying to look at 10 of them. You're trying to see the functionalities and all that and the prices that is suitable for kids, that is suitable for what you want to do exactly. So it wasn't as easy. Obviously, the Zoom that we're currently using for our classes, there was much more of it, especially in the States, a talk about the Zoom. And obviously, the weaknesses of the Zoom, we didn't see them affecting us much here in South Africa in terms of the security systems, people getting into the class and sitting there. And we don't have people that are hackers and IT crazy like first world countries. So we took a chance because we really like the functionalities that make it much more convenient. You see, convenience is very important because some of our kids, they are primary school kids, majority, they're sitting at home. The parents are not always there to log in for them and log out. So the reason we ended up taking a platform like Zoom, it was much more easy for kids to be able to go on the downloaded app and then click and still come into the meeting when the meeting starts without parents, without major assistance. So we've been using Zoom for most of our coaching, and it's been working. Yeah, it's been working all right. What can I say? It's been like a new start. Like you're starting all over, and there are certain players that sleep, drink, and eat cricket. It hasn't been easy for them. Some cricket is lifestyle, not only players, but some families. It's a lifestyle. They look forward to be at the cricket match, sitting on the boundary, supporting a kid, supporting the children that are participating. So look, even with now being able to do something with them online, it's not the same. And obviously for the coaches, look, it's been tough, but we were fortunate enough to get a reasonable number of some of our clients, some of our parents offering to carry on paying their membership, despite the fact that they are not attending even the conferencing, even the online sessions. There are some that quickly put their hands up that we know the situation right now, and we will carry on paying our membership. So yes, things have been bad for the coaches, but not to the level of starvation. They can manage to go to the supermarkets and buy food, and possibly pay a little percentage on their accommodation and rent, you know. It was like, it's not for real. You know, when we started hearing this thing from, it was just like, yeah, it's storytelling. There was a lot of jokes about it when it was still starting in China, and people thought it was much more on the fun side of it. And I still remember there was a match in New Zealand or somewhere where they decided to carry on with an international game, and there was no one in the stadium and the Sixers were being hit to the 30th bench, and the final leg was, or the cow corner was running up the stairs to bring that. I just realized that, no, it's not going to work. I mean, it was just impossible. I mean, the poor, you know, square leg. Just imagine, you're playing a game and you have to go 50 stairs up and you run down. That's like, you know, fitness on its own, and it's during the game. I looked at that game, I looked down, I said, we're in trouble. I did not anticipate that. On paper, it was going to work to say, yes, they can play, spectators won't come, they'll watch on TV. I'm like, great, why not? But when the big sixes start going to the benches, it was a different story. So obviously that's international. It came down to first class and clubs. Obviously we also had a club in the league as an academy. The fixtures had to stop now. We played a few fixtures where we couldn't shake hands. A couple of fixtures where people, after the game, people have to, you know, kick each other's boots as you know, crossing or use elbows, you know. And it wasn't looking great. After a couple of matches, everything was stopped, and boom, gone. There was no club cricket. And it went on to the restriction of numbers and eventually the actual lockdown itself. So I think sports will be affected big time, and it doesn't seem to be a priority when people start talking about industries that really need to open. I don't know whether we need more people in government that are sports people themselves. If you hear the British opening plan, they talk about cricket. You hear cricket being mentioned. I sit and listen to the government and them talking about all these industries and all that. They won't mention cricket, they won't mention tennis, which is a non-contact sport. You know, cricket, the bowler is going to be there, you're throwing the ball to a kid who's hitting balls, there's 22 meters, 21 meters apart. Tennis, it's similar distance. I don't think there's anyone to consider that. It's just sport, you're closing, we'll let you guys know when you're opening. So I think we're really on the back foot. And at times when people say sport, they think about people in the stadium. So we are under that category. No one is considering the non-contact sport, which is quite suitable for the situation and the crisis we're facing. To say, okay, these guys can carry on. These guys will not spread the disease. I hope at some stage someone will get to see that. During the lockdown, we have sort of like tried our best. We started by giving them workouts to do, whether it's sketching, it's throwing, it's drills, throwing against the wall, it's tapping the ball on a cricket bat. That was before introducing the conference platform like Zoom. But there wasn't that contact. You know, there was something missing. There is that thing where the players or where the kids see their coaches face to face. it's quite much more effective. Something that I never realized. So just telling them, typing a WhatsApp message on the group that, guys, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing that, giving questions and asking them to answer and put it back onto a WhatsApp group. Without that eye contact, without them being able to see the coach, there was quite a big gap. There was something big missing. So when we introduced the conference platform, it made a big change, where you can actually get to talk to the players, where they can actually get to see you, and it really made a big difference. And yeah, that's what we working on now, moving forward. At the same time, still giving them some exercise that they will do on their own, and we'll be able to also run a class together and give them exercise and give them drills. You see. Our theory class does run for about an hour. The practical class does run about 30 to 45 minutes, where we do exercises together with them on Zoom, on the platform. Those are mainly the two live sessions that we do with them. And then when it comes to our theory lessons, we actually live on Facebook and live on YouTube. And we are open to many other kids out there that cannot afford to be part of the setup, to also learn from that, to also go through and get to hear all these discussions. And the more we make our class sessions available to the majority of the kids out there, when they go onto the YouTube, there's a lot of cricket content of kids of their age as well that are involved in cricket. It only makes cricket a bigger industry. It's not about competition. It's not about one academy wanting to be better than the other. If I can get time to go and implement the same setup to another academy that's next to me or that's my competitor, I will definitely do that. I'll be grateful. So we are trying as much as possible to try and help everybody, the kids, other coaches that might come and ask for advice. So we do a lot of theory, and if you are to ask any top coach or any coach who's running a little cricket academy or big cricket academy, they will tell you that cricket, it's 80% mental and 20% physical. Some will say 75%, 25%. But what have we been doing all along? All along, we've been coaching 80% physical. And then by chance, 20% theory lesson with the kid. So we were doing things against our belief and against our theory. And I think all cricket coaches would agree with me. But we were stuck in the way things were working and the way parents would admit and see that, yes, my kid was running up and down, he's been hitting a lot of balls. Probably if you sit down with a kid on an afternoon and do mental work with him, theory work with him, you know, it hasn't been selling, it wouldn't sell, you see. So I've been always thinking, how can this be fixed? For many years since I started being a cricket coach, I would look at that and agree that, yes, cricket, you got to really know a lot of cricket up there. More than, you got to put more time on your mental understanding of cricket than the physical skill, you know. So for many years, I think this lockdown, this crisis, have sort of like come up with a solution of a question that I didn't have an answer for. So after the lockdown, when everything is settled, this thing is going to be part of the academy. We're going to have sessions with kids where we do theory with them. Obviously, we will not waste the daytime. Daytime we'll do skills because we require that. Evenings and weekends, we slot in. So if a kid is coming once a week to the academy, and 1 hour, they will get a 1 hour practical and 1 hour theory, which is 2 hours, and which will still come back down to 50-50. It's still not yet 75-25. But I think that will be a good start, whereby you run through. There are a lot of things that coaches shout to the kids. That was how volley outside off stump. You should have played it like this. Oh, this cricket jargon. But at times, especially smaller kids, under 9s and 11s, they do not quite understand the small things. I think this is one big thing, especially our academy, we've managed to get out of this crisis. And I've always been a believer that there are always two sides of a story. There's always a positive side and a negative side. As much as the lockdown and the virus and the crisis and the disease, it's quite a big negative. I had to look for the positive because there's always two sides. And I think that's the positive part of it. I've seen that from big companies. If you look at Jeep, if you look at BMW, those were born during the World War I, World War II. That's where these cars were produced. They are big brands right now. If it wasn't of the World War, no one knows if we were going to have a BMW. No one knows if we were going to have a Jeep. So stories like this, I always had them at the back of my mind. When I saw this crisis really developing, I sat down and I said something has to come out. It cannot be all negative. And we are still at the middle of it. We are still looking around to see what else can we develop that will be positive input to the sport, positive input to academic structures, positive input to the way cricket has been coached for the past 50, 100 years. What else can we get? I still think we can still get a few new ideas from this crisis. And I believe it's possible. And we are working on that. Obviously, the short-term plans is to try and make sure that we provide the service all over South Africa. That's what we're looking to do right now. Obviously, it's one step at a time. We're looking to involve more coaches that are sort of like into coaching already, that want to operate under the SA Cricket Academy brand and become a part of the owners, of the brand, because this is a brand that is owned by the coaches. You get what I mean? We're working flat out on that, and at the same time, we want to maintain the quality of the coaching. We want to maintain the standard, which is not as easy. There is a lot. As soon as one coach comes in, there's a lot that you need to go through with him and double check and go and check and make sure that we are offering the same service. That's sort of like the short term. And then obviously the long term is to try and make SA Cricket Academy the leading cricket academy. So far we are there and about. I can look around and see how many academies that are out there that operates in different provinces, and not as much. And some of the services that we're giving, like cricket tours and stuff like that, we are amongst the few academies that are offering that. We want to make sure that at one stage, without any doubt, everyone knows that this is the leading cricket academy. It's just as simple as that. That's the long-term goal. And we're getting there one step at a time. In total, I think we're sitting on around 12, 13. Yeah, we've got different sizes. Some are quite huge. Some are very small, minimum. And obviously we look to grow them. We've got quite a lot. We're growing a little bit faster in Gauteng. We've got another high performance in Pretoria. We've got a high performance in Waterfall, which is the Midrand area. We've got another high performance center in Kyalami, which is a Midrand area as well. We've got a high performance cricket center at Sandton Sports Club, which is in Sandton. And we've got another high performance center on the south of Joburg, that's Bedford View. And we've got a few others that we're still working with the coaches. Obviously, when the coaches come in at times, we need to groom them. We need to work with them. We need to get them to understand the concept. We need them to put in a few more hours before they're cleared to go and run by themselves. So look, it's a slow process. At times when you rush it, then it's very difficult to maintain the standards. The standards can easily be maintained when we go one step at a time and we try and make sure that the coaches that are gonna go out there to a different high performance center, they understand the concept. The concept is one thing that has made SA Cricket Academy what it is today, where the priority is not a 1 hour relationship with the kid. It's not a 1 hour relationship with the player. It's not a matter of you come, you're starting at 2, you're finishing at 3. When you come for that afternoon, you work. You work until it's dark. You work until you're tired. And there are options that we've put in place that to make that possible. 1 hour a day, it's not enough. If you've heard about the 10,000 hour rule, 10,000 hour rule, it's 3 hours a day to polish someone to professional level. And the sports that I've seen doing that very well, for example, it's tennis. And when it comes to cricket, at times it's 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, and then 1 or 2 at the school practice and all that. We try and get players to be spending more time at the academy to make sure the academy becomes the second home. It's not a 1 hour place. No, it's somewhere where you can wake up in the morning and go, even if you're not booked that day. There will be someone to give you stuff to do, and you start drilling yourself. So our concept is a little bit different from the 1 hour relationship, which has been a tradition in private coaching, you see. The academy has been operating in KZN for a long time. And this is an academy that started from humble beginnings. One of the Durban schools, and moving out of a school setup and going to a proper public place where we've got quite state-of-art indoor facility at City View Shopping Mall. I think it was quite an achievement for us to be able to have such a setup in Durban. And indoor facilities don't come cheap. It was quite a huge investment, and we can see with what we are producing. We can see with the kids that are benefiting from a setup like the one we've got in Durban. We're looking to see all the other academies getting to have a similar setup. Yes, it is possible to run private coaching from outside nets and stuff like that, but our standard measure is going to make sure that every academy has got an indoor facility. We're slowly working towards that. We've got one other big academy in Richards Bay. It is really doing quite well. It was one of those things that we needed to try. We've never heard about a big academy running from a small town. Most coaches would think that, look, there isn't any academy that can survive from there. There are no numbers. And it was a different story when we tried out to have an academy running from a very small town. We saw numbers changing, and we realized the reason why players and parents that were not buying into a cricket academy system quickly bought into SA Cricket Academy. It's the way we do things. And as I've mentioned, that it's not a 1 hour relationship. And we got numbers that we did not anticipate. We got the support from the Richards Bay community that we did not anticipate from a small town. And we've seen that there's a great future in making sure that SA Cricket Academy is in each and every small town in South Africa, not only big towns, because we've seen that it is possible. You just need to go there and offer something different that they've never seen in town. And it's easy to recruit, it's easy to see the clients and the parents seeing that it's worth it for us to pay for this. You got to give them a reason to see that, yes, it's worth it. If you do that, if the approach is like that, you will never fail, because parents really want to see their kids getting involved into a sport like cricket, especially in South Africa, especially the top schools. And that's our also main target when it comes to our private coaching. And we do run coaching and development areas like the township, and those programs are sponsored by us. Each and every academy has to make sure that they support a development program within their academy, where we take kids from the township, we bring them to town, we give them uniform, we get them involved in our coaching program. Like our last tour in Cape Town, we had to make sure we take 3 players from the development. We took 3 players from the township. It's not always about profit making. It's also about integration. And people talk about this and people put thumbs up that that's the way to go. But at times we can't sacrifice our small business. Sponsorship is hard to come. So at times in small academies, we need to sponsor ourselves. We need to sponsor our own development programs. Look, there's quite a number, and we mainly concentrate on more on our juniors, but we do have boys that have got quite huge potential. I've got a little guy who's grade 2, Caden Edwards. That's how we try and prepare them as early as possible. At times when kids get to grade 6, grade 7, for me, at times I say it's too late. Any kid or any player with 2 hands and 2 legs and has got passion for cricket, if I can get them at grade 1 and grade 2, I can easily develop a first-class player. I don't need talent, you understand? So that's where I always want to push and put my highlights more there. Rather than guys, yes, you can help them when they come a little bit later, but when they come in early, you know that you give them a very good grounding. You sort of like start the mentorship early. And for me, I think that really makes a big difference. So that kid in 15 years to come, definitely, I would say a pro tier. I won't give you the 19 others to make it 20 because it's going to be a long list. But this kid plays cricket, a grade 2 plays cricket like a 19-year-old. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. The sports world in 6 months' time, I would want to be as positive as possible, but there's this other strong feeling that's telling me that it seems like in 6 months' time we're going to be struggling. Worldwide, if I look at statistics, they are not promising. Even here in South Africa, if I look at statistics, as much as I would want to ignore that and be positive, if I sit down and put the statistics together, it's not promising. So there isn't much promising for the sports side of things. If it's international, yes, it involves big numbers and all that. It's not promising either. Yeah, so we just hope that all these statistics are wrong. We hope all these statistics, all these formulas. I'm just praying that the scientists, somehow, they are making mistakes. That's my only prayer. If I look at their graphs, if I look at the feedback when they put these stats into their systems, it's not really promising. I think United States, they are really releasing their numbers. It's scary when you look at them releasing their numbers. It's scary when you see people that are dying. And this is a first world country. What about us, South Africa? I can't imagine. And at the same time, I pray that there is something on the southern hemisphere that's going to protect us on this virus, so that it won't be as bad as it is everywhere else. Even with coaching kids at the academy, we're looking to make it compulsory that they keep their inners, betting inners, when they pick the balls from the bowling machine, putting them in. Because if one kid comes and there is an infection, he puts the infection on the balls, the rest of the kids that are going to pick those balls, because the virus does stay on a surface for a long time. So we're going to make it compulsory besides just the mask. We're going to make it compulsory for inners, or say gloves, but especially inners when you have to touch things and touch the balls, touch the surfaces. So gloves are going to be compulsory, and mask is going to be compulsory. Infrared thermometer testing is going to be compulsory before the session starts, and during the session, especially with the mask and with the inners, the gloves. Those are some of the things we've put down already, but as we move on, we'll see how we can highly protect our players, you see. People of South Africa, I would want to say, if they get to have a high-performance center close to them after the lockdown and everything, they must come through and see the difference of our concept, the difference of how our coaches carry out their coaching, the amount of time that we give to players. They must come and see and understand that SA Cricket Academy is the leading cricket academy. It doesn't get better than that. It is SA Cricket Academy. It is what it is. And sooner or later, everyone will get to know that there are hours that are being invested by SA Cricket Academy into the development of kids, not only cricket-wise, but all round. And obviously, we're looking to make sure that cricket becomes a national sport. We haven't been making huge inroads in terms of black players coming for private coaching, obviously because of economical and financial reasons. But our drive is to see the majority being able to somehow afford private coaching. It isn't the case at the moment. We need to come up with a concept that kids from the township will be able to come for private coaching somehow. that they will get parents that understand the advantages and the benefits of private coaching. And that's our target. We want to make sure that we bring private coaching to the Black majority. We've got all the other races. We've got them. But where is it lacking? If we really want cricket to be a national sport, it might sound a little bit political, but it's not. Those are the demographics. Those are the majority of the South Africans. If we find a way as private coaching academies to make sure that we somehow open doors, that kids are getting their transport, kids are getting their parents, bringing them from the township to the cricket academy for them to get private coaching. And I think that is the responsibility of SA Cricket Academy, besides it being a business. Otherwise, we are not living up to the name SA Cricket Academy. There's a reason why it is SA Cricket Academy, not the Sunset Cricket Academy, not So-and-so Cricket Academy. You know, the reason why it is SA Cricket Academy, it's got to be for the South African people, and the majority of them must be able to be part of SA Cricket Academy. One way or the other, we're going to make sure that South Africa Cricket Academy will be for South Africans, and everyone will be able to be part of it, whether you've got the money or you don't have the money. Summing up the academy in few words, the academy in 3 words, it's the leading cricket academy.